Welcome to Teaching Orchestra. Honor and Glory by Sunhee Newbold uses a lot of fourth finger. I almost said for the upper strings, but really for everybody, right? The reason why I wanted to make that distinction is because using fourth finger is essential for the lower strings. They learn it right away, whereas you can delay instruction of the fourth finger technique for the upper strings for, well, a long time. High school even. It's not ideal, but it's possible, right? Unlike most of the method books out there, I teach my students the entire finger pattern from day one, but I still stress fourth finger fingerings where it's applicable. My rule for playing fourth finger notes in the wild is never cross a string just to play an open string when you could have used fourth finger instead. I'm not against open strings. I'm not against open E. I'm not one of those never ear teachers who can't stand the open E string. It's fine, even necessary in some cases. But look at measure 36 in Honor and Glory. There's absolutely no reason to play open G here in the viola part or open D in the third violin part. If you're using third violins, that is. But this breaks my rule because in both cases, they're crossing strings just to play the open string and then crossing back. And that's a no-no in my classroom. I'll hit the thumbs down button for that technique, so I won't want to see any of my students do that. So let's get in here and change these fingerings to fourth finger. There are reasons why students should avoid fourth finger notes. There are 3 reasons why a student should avoid fourth finger notes. Number 1, because open string is usually a cheat code for intonation, unless their open strings are out of tune. Number 2, they have bad left hand shape. And number 3, they don't have enough finger strength. 3 can be tied in with 2, right? Because if they have bad left hand shape and they play with flat fingers, they're also probably not going to have enough finger strength to push down the string. So if your student's left hand shape is holding them back from playing fourth finger, please watch season 1, episode 2, and I have several videos that you can use some demonstration exercises to help your students develop good technique. If it's 3 and they don't have enough finger strength, what do? Increase their grip strength? Not a bad idea. But is there a way to get some quick results? Add a finger to help push down the string. In my teaching companion, I have these finger building exercises where students get an assist from another finger, the first finger to the second finger, the third finger to the fourth finger, to keep them down so that they learn weight transfer to the next finger in the series. So this is what it looks like. First finger to fourth finger helps them learn how to rock back and forth, transferring the weight from first to fourth, second to fourth, third to fourth, and then you're tunneling, open to fourth. And this is just a check to make sure that your students have a good left hand shape. What they'll do when they're tunneling, if they don't have a good hand shape and their fingers aren't at 90 degrees, it'll rub up against the open A when they're playing fourth finger A and keeping their fourth finger down, and it'll sound really bad. Now let's take a look at what our low string players are doing. They're tunneling the whole time. Third finger down, fourth finger down against the first finger or open A. Fourth finger down against the open A, open first finger. And this helps with accountability here to the left hand shape from your lower string so they don't get left out. When I start these exercises with my students, I don't use the bow right away. I just have them tap with the left hand. Can they hear the A's when they tap? No? Okay. Well, let's tap them harder. Okay, slam those fingers down, tap harder. Unfortunately, at this level, the student can really get a bad instrument. And a lot of times the parents don't want to invest in a good instrument because they don't know if their kid's going to stay in orchestra and they don't want to waste the money. And so, as a parent, I can empathize with that. But as a teacher, it breaks my heart because these little kids have to push so hard with their little fingers on their little strings because their bridge is so tall or their tail gut is too short, right? Oh my goodness, I absolutely hate that. It's really unfair to our younger players that they have to play on such garbage. And when I send them back to the shop, sometimes the shop owners, they love me, by the way. That's sarcasm. Because I'm very picky about the instruments in my students' hands. And some of the owners don't like that because it cuts into their profits and it makes them have to do extra work. So there's a conflict there between us. And conflict resolution could look different for different folks, right? So when communication breaks down and we can't reach an understanding and they tell me they won't fix it and we just have to deal with it, I sometimes try to resolve the conflict by recommending a competing shop, folks that are willing to work with me. And in response, they try to get me fired from my job, accusing me of having inappropriate relationships with other shops. But fortunately for me, there's a massive teacher shortage, which gives me pretty good job security. But that's not legal advice. That's just my line in the sand. That's my hill to forever sleep on. But some orchestra teachers avoid fourth finger because of the open string cheat code. And in a contest like here in Texas, intonation, from my experience, is weighted much higher than, say, phrasing or dynamics. So much, much higher. And I get it if you want to solidify your score with open strings. But here in Honor and Glory in measure 9, if your first violins and violas are using open A's or open D's here, it's going to make this much harder than if they use their fourth finger instead. Even at this level, doing the string crossings on the eighth notes is going to be trickier, so I would just use fourth finger, or if they can't do it, maybe program something else and leave Honor and Glory for a different time when they develop those skills easier. Maybe save it for your spring concert or something like that. You know what else will help your students relax their left hand? Provide accountability to the left hand shape and make your students sound awesome in Honor and Glory. And what am I talking about? It's vibrato. And in my next video, I'm going to cover that topic, and I hope to see you then.